Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you very much. So first of all, I'm pretty impressed with the way Shreya introduced me. Honestly, felt very flattered. Yes, 31 years. Uh, nice to be here. And what Mukul said, Saturday morning, being here at 8:30, and when you are the first speaker, you need to be on time. Painful? Yes, it is. However, the incentive of meeting old friends, meeting many of the young dynamic talent which is there in the room, excites you and ensures that you are here on time. Once again, I would thank Pharma in Future. It's a great initiative. As I understood from Mukul, this is the first physical meeting, because the earlier one with the great Kotler Sahab was digital. So I think it's nice to be here. Very importantly, I must mention this. Pharma industry as a whole has definitely moved ahead. And even though so-called the people who are with me here of 25, 30, 31 years of experience, trust me, there are a lot of things that we need to learn from the younger generation. And I must also tell you, gentlemen, you all are much smarter than what we were at your age. So once again, gentlemen, I would request you all, for Pharma in Future, a big round of applause. So as soon as we talk about change, I would say the first few things which comes into my mind is excitement, not knowing what is going to happen, expecting that the best would come out of it. So frankly, it is something which gives you a bit of butterfly in your stomachs, as I am having now. But it definitely ensures that you prepare the best and you want the best to come out of it. The presentation outline is what and why of a change. Why do we ensure successful organization change, or how do we want to do it? How do you manage change in today's very fast-paced business environment? 3 years, he said, Mukul, a lot of changes has happened. How are companies changing their strategies? Maybe a little bit of insights, a lot of learning from all of you to happen during the tea and the coffee breaks. What is the most important key to the successful organizational change? Very, very important quote. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent. It is the most adaptable to change. This is true. At least not for everybody else. I can say for myself, I am a BSc graduate. I am a very average student. I came into this profession. I was blessed with great bosses. I learned over a period of time, did some professional courses, adapted, and 31 years into this profession means, yes, I have survived. So this is something which is very, very important. And I think not only for human beings, it is applicable for everybody, that you need to adapt to stay. Extremely important, gentlemen, to understand that the rate of change is never, ever going to slow down. In fact, it is going to go further and further and faster. So the generation which is here, please buck up, pull up your socks, do a lot of cycling and running, because you need to be physically fit to ensure that all these changes which is happening, you are able to get into it. Before we really get into the core presentation, it is not that pharma industry has not changed. Huh? Yes, the pace could have been less, but we have. And I think one of the gentlemen who probably in the initial phase brought about a change was late Dr. Tarun Gupta. Conceptualized, introduced, visual aid, which made the talk inside the clinic much more, I would say, interactive. It had a visual impact, it had an impact of the voice, and ensured that the messages which wanted to go was delivered in a much better manner. Dress code, frankly speaking, I joined in 1990, this profession. And if somebody was to tell me that as a medical rep, you need to wear a dress, I would say, come on, yeah. How can that happen? But in fact, he did it. In fact, if I am not wrong, I think in Ranbaxy's stand care, there was a blue shirt and I think, dark navy blue pant or a black pant. And they were into neuropsychiatry. And obviously, at that time, Intas, Torrent and Son had a huge strength, and I would say they had the maximum market share. So it was something good, something innovative to ensure that as soon as they come, they are recognized, they are from a particular organization. Again, I am from that era where postal DCRs or daily report used to be there. Moved to online. I believe Dr. Reddy's was the first company to get it done. Print VA to digital. A lot of us moved into it. Manual stockist order to automatic. Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, they took the initiative ahead. Now with all these changes, what happened is the core job which had to be done by that function, that time increased. Instead of, since I had a long tenure in sales, almost for 10 years as a medical rep, I can tell you, during the closings, many of might not have enjoyed that fun, where you had 5 cups of tea just waiting out a stockist and a distributor, and waiting for your turn to come, and then he says, ki, itna order to nahi banega. And I tell you, that's a different kind of challenge. So the basic thing of the job, which is spending time with the doctor and the chemist, getting the RCPA, that time increased. Moving from primary focus to secondary focus, I think again the onus goes to Glaxo, goes to Cipla, that they identified that the basic demand generation, the parameter which needs to be looked into is secondary sales. Change in SFE, number of work days, 5 working days. Cipla. Separate go-to-market team, I would say Nicholas Piramal, Deedan, and Cipla. So with all this, it is not that pharma industry is still very primitive, what it used to do 30 years back. No, we have definitely changed. However, the pace of change and the number of change could have been much more. And one of the reasons for that is, I think we are very happy with whatever we have been doing. And there is a reason for it. If you see the CAGR of IPM, even during very bad times, financial recession, it has never dropped. It has always grown. So most of us have this belief, yeah, if something is working, why to change? And this is also a fact. Whatever we are doing, we are comfortable with, we love staying with it. Faster adoption to virtual detailing platform. I think if there is one good thing which COVID has done, that is even the most reluctant of us have now a Zoom call or a Microsoft Teams, etc., etc. And I must say that many of us have really struggled in the beginning. But I would say digital transformation, maybe I was saying later during the day we have a presentation, is something which is part of and is going to stay and it's going to grow. This is the way I look into the way the evolution of focus for the IPM has changed. Very product-centric, therapy-centric, so specialty, super specialty focus, brand building community, CRM coming into big way, patient-centric, innovative brands coming in a big way in our country, accessibility, availability, and lately I see profit-centric thought process is picking up in a very big way in pharma. In other startups, industries, when we see, they are concerned more about the top line. However, when we look into pharma, at least my observation has been that we are very, very getting focused into profits and sometimes losing the larger picture, maybe 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line. What and why of a change? Organizational change in pharma refers to the actions in which a business alters a major components of its organization, such as culture and values, business portfolio focus, which I would say all marketing people many times do, evolving disease, evolving therapies, we completely put all our focus there. Customer, employee engagement and patient services, product promotion and usage of technologies, distribution process. Why? We all need to be competitive. If I don't start running, probably I stay where I am because others are running faster, so they will definitely go ahead. So keep abreast with the current market trends. Predictability of business transitions, because obviously whatever we do, at the end of the day, each one of us here in this room, other than a few privileged people who have played their entire innings, we are to deliver the numbers at every month end. Business efficiency, sustainability. I think this is very important. There has been stories of organization which over a period of time have really grown. However, after a certain time, a lull period comes. And I don't want to name organizations, but you all know there have been organizations which were great. You go 15 years back, you see the IPM number 1 to number 10, you would find completely a different scenario. See over the last 4 years, the kind of change is happening. The giants have probably gone down. So sustainability is extremely important, and that is one of the major reasons why a change is needed. Competitive advantage. I think we have gone the geography route for a long. 400 reps, 500 reps, 800 reps, 2000 reps. Sabko cover kar lo. Now a country like ours, frankly speaking, impossible. You cannot. So that competitive edge could be through a tool by which you are able to reach the doctor, tool by which an accessibility of the product is there, a tool by which you can ensure that the doctor is having a better footfall in his clinic. So there are various ways of looking into that. How do I ensure that as an organization, we have a competitive advantage? Employee motivation, morale and skill. I'm a strong believer that pharma still is a absolute human resource oriented business. Yes, you have technologies where you can have virtual detailing, you have technologies where you can push emailers, still. And frankly, I'm quoting a doctor with whom I had a very nice interaction, and I'll just take a detour, so allow me this 2 minutes. My question to him was that, sir, when a person comes and gives you a gift, how do you feel? My name is Sumit Bhattacharjee, I am a Bengali. So he said, Sumit, are you sure your mother loves you? I said, sir, what are you saying? He said, but in Durga Puja, do you give a sari to your mother? I said, yes, I do. He said, why? So when you are giving me a pen or a pencil or putting something on the table, trust me, this is not good enough to bribe me. Any of the things that you give me, I'm able to buy. However, when you do that, I feel important. I feel that, yes, this organization treats me very specially. Now, my logic is not here to give him gifts. My logic here is, as a society, we are emotional. So, if the guy who is there in the field is somebody who has been meeting the customer regularly, is good in clinic, has a pleasant personality, is able to talk science, is able to add value to the doctor, he would always get his pie of prescriptions and support. Market and shareholders' admiration. I think that's the ultimate for any business that we do, and for that, changes are required. Most of the marketing meetings are all about market share gain has to be there. And when you go to the big bosses, the entrepreneurs, they will say, "Okay, bhai, shareholder ko jawab dena hai. You need to deliver your numbers." So I believe this is why change is required. Now, challenges to bring the change. If you look into last 1 decade, I think when it comes to compliance and regulatory, there have been very frequent changes. Models with whom we were very comfortable with has undergone a big change. So all of a sudden, we are fish without water. Because otherwise, usually we used to have, this 5 doctors, this is the promotional strategy, 2 prescriptions in a day, then we give him blah, blah, blah. So all of a sudden, all these changes which are coming are ensuring that all of us ensure that we start thinking more. Rising cost of working capital. Again, a fact. Whether it is procurement, whether it is technology, whether it is most of us, the cost has definitely gone up. Fast changing technology. I don't know. Facebook used to be the in thing and most happening thing when I was in my school and college. Today, probably many of you are not there. You are into Insta and Twitters and whatnot. So there is a very, very fast bombardment of technology for us, and all of us have a large part of our social life there. So whether it's business, it's personal, you cannot ignore, and that changes is happening fast. Strong priority towards revenue and sales numbers. What happens when you try to bring a change? Many times, probably you need to take a step back. Doesn't happen every time, but at least that preparation has to be there. Yes, if this is what we are taking ahead, there might be a lull period which we would, but we will definitely get a much, much better returns in months and years to come. Mindset and understanding of newer technologies. Frankly speaking, today there are so many platforms. Many of us do not understand it well, and nor do we take the pain to understand. And it's a very human, I would say, reaction, because change is always a bit difficult. You will have to again learn, get into that habit. So breaking that comfort and coming out of it is a bit difficult task. Orientation towards experimentation and innovation. This is where I say that pharma industry probably is on the much, much lesser side if we compare with all the other industries which are there. We are very slow adopters. And that is one of the reasons why still when we talk about digital, most of the understanding is iPad detailing, emailers, sometimes some brand features being pushed into WhatsApp. So, as I said, that's very important, that innovation and experimentation has to happen. And with the kind of economic growth which India is seeing and will see over the next decade, I think it's an opportunity for entire pharma industry to get into it. Fear of failure, very human tendency. I would always say that whenever we propose a change, this is something we need to keep aside, because a fear up to a certain extent is good. It probably gives you that additional drive, but too much of it curbs you down. Another aspect is lack of project management skill among the leadership team. Whenever you want to have a change, it's very important that there has to be a specific team which needs to take it ahead. Importantly, it is not necessarily that every organization can have this inside capabilities. Very much possible. There are so many ways of collaborating with people who are in the industry, were in the industry, now probably heading their own businesses. You can always collaborate and get the best out of it. Now, how do you ensure that a successful organizational change happens? The foremost, root cause analysis. That is the foundation of the change. That as an organization, every organization has its own culture, way of doing things. What is that inherent thing which you need to respect, keep it, and what are those paraphernalias where you can have a change? Clearly state the vision for the future. Most of the time, when we go for a change, the reluctance is more internal than external. The external world will always appreciate a change. It is the internal reluctance and resistance which is very, very difficult. So that's why it's very important that the vision for the future needs to be very clearly cascaded to everybody. Short-term goals. In fact, yesterday somebody gave me a beautiful example. And again, the understanding was, why do we require rewards? 3 महीने में आपने एक प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छा सेल किया, भाई, please give him a blazer or give him a shirt. And he said, Mr. Bhattacharjee, if you look into the evolution of human beings, what we love to do, sleep in a cave, which probably is now our home, come out, hunt, take the food back or pluck the fruits, have and sleep. So he said, it is in our genes, it is imbibed, that we always require that if you do something, there has to be a reward. And in earlier times, the reward used to be a fruit, an animal meat, a fish. Today, it's a pleasure, it's an incentive, it's a tie. So, very important. I'm sure many of you are able to connect with me on this point. So, short-term goals are important because that keeps the drive within the team. Start at the top. So whenever the change has to happen, the number one man, he has to believe, he has to trust, and he has to buy time. Then it cascades down. Extremely important, please get everybody involved in the change. Many times, in large organization, it happens that there are so many departments that everybody is in silo. And all of a sudden, you ask the HR, is there something change happening? Yaar, mujhe nahi pata. I am not into that. Or some other group is doing it. Very important. As I said, that is the first step of reluctance. So this has to be definitely looked into. Stay at top of resistance. Now, when I say stay at top of resistance, there are always very clearly two ways of looking into it. Sit, interact, please explain why the change is needed, how the change will be done, what is the time period which is required. Involve everybody in the process, or the other way around is, but you are not good enough, please, you are not part of this change. So that difficult task has to be done. Create new communication channels. Many a times it happens that, and I would say why many a times, almost in every organization, there are few people who speak, everybody listens. And even if they do not agree, and I'm telling you, across the hierarchy it happens, they don't express. Sir, very important. As I said, even the mindset of the newer generation, the way we did our job, most of the young people who are there, you do not have the same mindset of doing the job. You are much more free, I would say, much more opportunities are there. So it's very necessary for organization to understand that they need to reach out and communicate with everybody. Ensure and promote early adoption. I think the name of the game is space today. Wherever you are, whatever you are, speed is necessary. And if you do it with considerable speed, you are definitely buying success. Most important, do you trust the change? Do you believe that this change will bring in the desired results, thoughts, vision that you are having? And please, please give yourself and the team some patience. How do you manage change in today's very fast-paced business environment? Sir, a sharp, intelligent team has to be in place. Where do you get it? We cannot hire people from Mars. We don't have them. Please ensure that they are trained, they are sent to the best of the institutes, and you will see that the best of the professionals can evolve out of the team that you handle. Technology usage of AI, machine learning, big data has to be there. Again, I'll just give you an example. I think it was about 6-7 years back, and I was attending a conference where a guy from Amazon, a very young fellow, he must be hardly 26, 27, he was there. And the question was put to him, how do you manage the warehouse? That shirt which is blue in color, 42 size, somebody wants. That particular atta, somebody wants. So he gave a very nice answer to all of us. He said, you all pharma people, how many of you do forecasting every month? Let me ask this question to all of you. How many of you do forecasting? Brand-wise, SKU-wise? Nobody does here? You are blessed. And he said, please check your records. How many times you have gone right? He said, sir, for certain aspects, you cannot defeat the machine. So please adopt. So he said, we do not keep any, that rack on the last will have that shirt. It is all managed by the machine. Because as humans, definitely we are limited. We have a brain which can think, but then we cannot do everything. So extremely important, please adopt more and more technology, AI, it will help. Effective tracking and monitoring system, must. Because at the end of the day, we all work for commercial organization. Output has to be there, market share gain has to be there, number of prescribers has to be there, prescription generation has to be there, prescription share has to be there. Now, for all that, you need to have an effective tracking, monitoring system, which should throw feedback to you. Many times, we have a lot of monitoring devices, but then what is the feedback? Important is that. Creating a dedicated project management team, which comprises of experienced staff. Important. People who have seen the change. People who have done it earlier. Because irrespective of whatever you do, you just cannot buy experience overnight. You will have to get certain people who have done the job earlier. Reward and recognition for implementers and administrative team. As I said, we all get excited as soon as there is a reward. So it's very important. Keep the energy levels high at a regular interval, at a stipulated interval, recognize, reward, share the success story with everybody. Collaboration with allied industries, lawmakers, stakeholders, including educational institutes, helps. If I can give you an example, that if I need to think about a change in an organization, in earlier days, it used to be our Mitrada from Calcutta who used to come and give a presentation, ki, this is the strategic way. But now, you have many other methodologies of doing it. You can go to a good institute and ask them, ki, this is the market scenario, these are my resources, how do I go ahead? And they can definitely give you. So on project basis, you can get a lot of things done. Now, how are companies changing their strategies to compete in a new business environment? Again, These are some of the experiences in the industry which many of you have seen. Now, frankly speaking, there was a time when we all used to say, this molecule has to stay only with us. I am the innovator. Nobody else should promote. I think that thought process has changed now. It is more of a collaborative, and even innovators have understood that there are certain markets where you need to go with an idea of collaboration so that the benefit of the molecule reaches to the patients, the doctor is able to use more, and the geographic coverage is much better. And in fact, there are many such examples in the industry. Shift in customer focus. I would definitely say this, that at least two organizations which I remember, one is Mankind, definitely. That if you look into Mankind, they went not top down. Because prior to that, everything was top down. Specialty, then it cascades down. They went the other way. By sheer numbers, ensure that the entire GP mass writes your product, the product is available, and see the success. They tried something new. They completely went beyond the thought process of pharma at that time. We need to see. I have worked in diabetes for some time. I still remember, then it was Hixt, Boehringer, US Vitamin, Franco. All the promotional stuff used to be there for endocrinologist and diabetologist. And then Lupin came. And their approach was very simple. They started putting all their resources to consultant physician. I still remember the first year, as per IMS data then, Lupin did around 11 odd crores for a new division. And at that time, it used to be, I'm talking about something which is probably almost 16, 17 years back, which was pretty good. If you look into collaboration with strong technology leaders, I'll again give you an example. On the diagnostic tools, there are many tests which are coming, which are completely AI based. Mammography, which is done. Even if you see the Foxy reports, it says that the success of a mammography report is to the tune of 72 to 80%. That means still there are 20% ladies who go back home with a report which is not right. And you don't know. Many of them can again come back to the doctor, unfortunately, when the disease has gone ahead. Entire digital mammography today, you can get an AI report where, as per FDA standards, 99.5% is the success rate. And you won't believe, the company which is propagating it in USA is no pharma company. It's Hewlett-Packard. And fortunately, this technology, at least in India, I can share that the company I represent here, we will be able to give it to the Indian radiologist maybe by next March. So, as I said, technology is coming in a very big way. Tie-ups with research institute. I have worked with UCB during my marketing days. In the 1990s, the collaboration was with University of Cologne for all allergy. With regards to neurology, it worked with the American Neurology Society. So, there is definitely a methodology of getting dedicated people, knowledgeable people, collaborating with them and ensuring that you get the best of the results without hiring them. Disruptive distribution channels, I think I need not say this, we all know now that many of us have actually stopped going to the retail. We just do it through our mobile and we get. And one important thing which has happened through this is, trust me, accessibility of medication has definitely gone up. What is the most important key to the successful organizational change? So anyway, I have a reminder that Usually the first batsman plays a longer innings, ma'am. Pardon me for that, but I'll close out. So if we look into the change, I think very importantly, in this piece, please ensure the planning before the change. Very important. Number 2 is support to and from leadership. Again, one of my observation. The leadership period has reduced considerably. In many, many organizations, we have people at Hem of Affairs for 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years maximum, again people move. I still believe that when you get into a change management, you need people there for a much longer innings. Few take-home messages. Change is inevitable. So please innovate, but you have limitations to innovate. We know the story of iPhone now, that they are not able to get any other feature, only the camera is improving, the battery life is improving, etc. Upgrade and please adopt. Project management team is a must whenever you're thinking of an organizational change. Why the change is to be understood by all stakeholders, predominantly internal, everybody's part and role to be very, very clearly defined and explained. Please have a time-bound review mechanism where you are able to see the outcomes and if necessary, titrate it. Reward and recognize the early adopters. Culture of transparency, empowerment to express across hierarchy is very, very important to ensure a successful change. And lastly, please have patience and belief. Thank you, gentlemen, and the ladies here. I have taken much more time, otherwise I would have invited few questions, but that we can do when we meet in person. My earnest thanks to the pharma in future. I think it's a great initiative. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bhattacharjee, for that very enlightening address. And I'm sure all our audience members has enjoyed a lot. And I think I think when we see you speaking, we can have an idea that you also have a very good sense of humor, which you just joked when I tried to give you a reminder. So thank you so much once again for that. And ladies and gentlemen, before Sir moves ahead, can I request Dr. P.K. Rajput to please join us on stage and felicitate Mr. Bhattacharjee with the bouquet of flowers and thank him on behalf of us for joining us today.